You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and the interview subject I have coming up for you is Schuylar Croom. Schuylar is the singer, the vocalist, and the fella at the centre of a very underrated band from the United States of America. He is Legend. That's the name of the band. And the reason for the conversation is to promote their brand new album for 2017, called Few. Let's have a listen to what Schuylar has to say. Here we go. I want to welcome you to the Scars and Guitars podcast. The band's new album, titled Few. It's fantastic stuff. How does the album differ, or does it differ, to previous He Is Legend albums?
I think that's an answer you can answer, right? Or a question for you. We don't necessarily know how to judge our sound too much. I mean, obviously, it's a He Is Legend record, that's for sure. But, I mean, the way it differs is that we crowdfunded this record, so our fans kind of gave us the opportunity to make this happen. So I think that just made it more important to us at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how it differs from other records. It's got different songs on it. But, we take it all seriously, but this one just seemed a little more important because the kids got involved and gave us the opportunity to make it because we had no record label at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. And look, to that point, I find it really hard to categorise or define you guys and the sound that the band brings to the market, actually. So there are a lot of different sounds in the band's music, and something that I found very challenging was trying to describe the sound of Few to somebody who hadn't actually heard the band before. So help me out here a little bit. How would you describe the band's sound? It's not metalcore, it's not necessarily straight up rock. I think you've got a very good blend of just about everything in the hard and heavy scale in 2017.
Well, isn't that rock and roll in general, I think? I mean, we like to just call it rock and roll like it is, I mean, that's how we feel on stage. That's how we present ourselves, I guess. I don't think it is too much different than that, I mean, back when it was all being defined, I think we weren't around, but we grew up listening to shit like that, and whether it's Nirvana, White Zombie, or, Jimi Hendrix and the Stones, it's all, it's just trying to push the limit to one fashion or another. And for us, we don't really set out to make any genre of music. We just know what we like and what we write together. So,
fair enough. Yep.
When it comes to it, when it comes down to it, it's just He Is Legend songs.
Yep.
We don't really have a definition, I guess I should say.
So your guitarists in the band, Adam and Dennis, I really love what those guys do, actually. I'm a guitarist and bass player myself, and what those two bring is a pretty formidable combination, actually. So
it's not Denny, it's French. It's Denny.
Oh, sorry, Denny. Gotcha.
No worries, no
worries. How did you guys...
You had to ask how you pronounce my name, so we got to get his right, too.
Spot on, yes. How did you guys, as a band, approach writing the new album together?
The format that we have for writing is pretty much the same as the first album we did. Adam and I kind of bounce off of each other and like to make sure that things are, just a bit of a, we kind of do it behind closed doors for each other. So we like to be surprised by what we're both doing.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
At the end of the day, it all, we know we make good music together, so we don't really question it. But, yeah, I mean, there's a He Is Legend format for sure for writing. I don't think we set out to write something that sounds like one thing or another, but it, it always works out well, and we're always happy with it. It's a good, it keeps us grounded as far as when we get into the studio, because it's not a chore. It's fun for us to be in there. So, but normally Adam's worked out most of the song in his head that we don't hear until everything's kind of fashioned in the studio, and then he kind of paints the doorway for me to create the story behind that. The drums obviously help flesh that out, but we go into the studio with a skeleton. What comes out of it afterwards, obviously sounds a lot different than what we heard in the practice room, but that's the fun of it. It's like Legos.
Yeah, fair enough. And look, I am going to bestow a compliment to your good self. Okay, so in my view, you are one of the most accomplished singers in heavy metal in 2017. You have, and you've alluded to this already, you have a great traditional rock vocal, and you can certainly mix it up with a solid gravel-throated roar. So what do you think it would take for the band to reach a far bigger audience? Because to be quite frank, I think you deserve to.
You tell me, man. I mean, we've been at this for a minute, and of course we all feel like the underappreciated appreciators of music, I guess, but it doesn't get us down, it's just a matter of like where it goes from there. This album obviously is doing killer things, so we can't really complain, but at the same time, I think it takes a lot. It takes a good team working behind you. It takes good fans throwing it out there as much as they can. But we don't dwell on shit like that. We just go for it. Like we're on the road touring, like 10 kids, 100 kids, 1,000 kids. It doesn't matter. We don't change our show for anything. We just have a good time. It's all about mixing it up and having people around that give a shit, and that's what it's always been for us. And we've been doing this for 11 plus years now, and of course we've seen growth, but I think with every record there's a potential for it to explode or just fizzle out. The iron's always hot, right when something comes out. So we're at the point now where we just sit back and watch. Obviously we could be playing festivals and reaching bigger audiences, but that's not really up to us, is it?
You're not wrong. Now, I think I can go part way to answering the question that you put back to me, though. So you do have some FM radio and some mainstream influences, or inspirations, I should say, and you covered Wounded by Third Eye Blind in 2006. So have you ever felt tempted to ditch the heavier aspect of your music and release music that would be played on daytime FM radio?
Well, like I said before, I mean, we don't go into it thinking about what we're writing. I mean, we write the music that we write because it comes out of us. It's not like, it's like you peel a scab off and fucking it either bleeds or pusses. It's not like you can't control what's underneath that. We just get into a groove and we write songs that we write. What comes out of what me and Adam do behind closed doors is really just a matter of us trusting each other wholeheartedly, and being, we've been best friends since 2000 or 99, 2000, something like that. So writing music together since then, it's been well over a decade that we've been doing this, and our format's not broken. We know that we write good music together, so
yeah, for sure.
There's no real reason for us to change that or question that, because to us it's the cult following that we've had since the beginning that we give a shit about it. That it has less to do with like, of course we'd love to play these big huge mainstream rock festivals and have songs on the radio, and I don't think that the last 3 albums have ever had songs on them that shouldn't be on the radio. I mean, I know that we've definitely had radio rock songs on our last 3 albums that would have fit with daytime rock, but there again, that's not something that we chose to do or something we really had control over putting on the radio. So, I mean, obviously that's a double-edged sword. I mean, you don't want to seem like you're writing pop songs for the sake of writing pop songs, but we fucking love pop music, so it's not like we're not, if a Bieber song were to come out of a Legend camp, then we wouldn't say we can't play that,
Yeah, fair call. And just whilst I've been talking, I've been thinking a little bit. And has the opportunity ever been presented for you to tour with Panic at the Disco or a band like Fall Out Boy?
No, I mean, we've never really had that opportunity. We don't really know. I mean, we know those dudes. We played shows with those dudes before, but you got to understand, for us, like, we're more of a, we have more punk rock, like, rock and roll roots that aren't, it's not exactly like, not that we would turn our nose up at that, but we also, we're just kind of we're a party band, so we're not going to do something just because it looks good, for the numbers. It's for us, it's more about our fans, and about, like, what we think we should do to better ourselves as musicians, and going out with a band that we look up to and that we, admire. We would rather play with the Deftones or Marilyn Manson or Zombie or something like that, where it's, someone that we could be inspired by. I'm not saying that Fall Out Boy or whatever wouldn't be somewhat inspiring. It's just not, it's not what we're looking for, I guess, in that aspect, I guess. There are certain pop bands that we would love to tour with, like Highly Suspect they're killing it right now. They're doing cool things. We played a show with them 2 years back at South by Southwest in Austin, and it's things like that I think that's where it really makes a difference when it comes down to, like, just supporting a band that you don't really know or have a relationship with. I think that it, is it worth it? I can't tell you, because we haven't done those tours. So I know that we enjoy our the friends that we do get to tour with that are bigger than us and do enjoy our band. It's that's where we really enjoy ourselves.
Okay, thanks for that. That's a good answer, actually. And the current state of the music industry is a topic that offers reams of copy and many memorable quotes from bands and artists. Believe me, I've spoken to a few at this point in time, and Few is an album that was partly funded by a campaign on Indiegogo. So
fully funded.
There you go, fully funded. Congratulations on that, by the way. It just shows the dedication of your fans and audience.
Absolutely.
What made you realise that crowdfunding was an option worth exploring?
I don't think we knew that until it happened. I think what happened to us was we sat around and weighed out the options of whether or not it was a good idea. We studied each band that we could see had done it before. We watched their numbers tick away. Looked at, what they did that was cheeky, what they did that was, interesting or not interesting, what seemed silly, what didn't. And then I guess just decided that it was for us. I mean, I was one of the ones that was just, really weary about doing it because it can look really selfish, I guess, But I think with where we are and what we had to do in sitting and watching and looking at how other bands really took to it and who did well, who didn't, what perks were cool, what weren't. I mean, we try to take an approach where we were able to, I guess the word would be showcase other artisans and people that really, that had their own path, whether it be making jewelry or making clothing or, like making action figures or anything like that. It was kind of interesting for us to try. We wanted to push and promote artists that were doing things that weren't musical in order to make this worthwhile. And, rather than have a hot dog party with 100 fans. I mean, just something. Those things seemed a little like not interesting, but just I didn't think it was. I don't think any of us really, when we were trying to figure out how to do this, it was mainly, here's the budget, here's what we made the last record for, so here's what we need to make the next record for, at least match the last record. And then, we took the money to pay for all of the things that we produced, all the perks, and pay the artisans that were working with us and for us. And it seemed like it ended up being a really good idea for us. And I think a lot of bands that have cult followings and have had bands or fans that have been with them since day one, it's a perfect way to fund your album, especially if you don't have a record label. And we were at that point, where we had two options. We could either renegotiate a contract or prove it to ourselves that we could really get through and make an album with just the help of our fans. So it ended up being a really interesting thing, interesting process, and a lot of good things came out of it. I don't think we really could complain. I don't know if we would go that route again. I think it's a one-time thing, but
yep.
Yeah, I mean, we really ended up getting very lucky in that.
I think what you've done is given fans a chance and the audience an opportunity to feel invested in your art, because you do become very attached to bands. I know certainly how I felt about Faith No More in 1991. There's no doubt going to be a young fella or a young lass out there that feels the same way about He Is Legend right now, and you're giving them an opportunity to buy into what you guys are doing. I know I certainly would have done that back in the day.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it really gives the fans a chance to be in from the ground up and really, watch the whole process. I mean, obviously some fans didn't know how long it took to produce a rock album, and I mean, we didn't start recording until after we knew that we had met our goals. So, it was great for us. I mean, it ended up just really, really making a lot of sense. And so,
okay,
at the end of the day, we were so grateful and so humbled by the fact that our fans really came down to the wire and just like stuck their neck out and let us produce this album on our own, which was, it's a humbling thing, man. You can't ask for anything better than that.
Agreed. So I've got a few more questions for you and then we'll wrap things up. Tell me about the band's relationship with Australian audiences over the years.
Well, we've only been twice, but we've had a hell of a time. The first time we did headlining shows, and they were amazing. We were really overwhelmed. And the last time we played the last Soundwave Festival, tons of bands that we look up to, and
for sure, yeah,
more ways than one. Obviously, Faith No More, and yet, we walked off stage every day, and I would walk out and hear Black Hole Sun. I mean, just an insane time and a surreal moment. And our love for Australia is deep. We love every city there. We have such a great time when we're over. We obviously have not been back enough, and hopefully we can come over to support this album because it means a lot to us. This album means a lot to us, and Australia does as well. So hopefully we can make some things work in the very near future.
Excellent. Well, we love having you down here as well. So, look, I've got one final question. It is divided into three questions, though. So I do ask this of all my interview subjects. So I'd really like it if you could humour me here, Schuylar, and play along. Your answers can be as not safe for work as you like. So here goes. Choose 3 words to describe yourself.
To describe myself?
Yes.
Malnourished, newly tattooed, and energetic.
All right. If you could go back to when you were 18 and give yourself some advice, what do you think you'd say?
Get it in writing.
Good advice for everybody right there. And what 5 guests, living or dead, would you invite to dinner?
Oh, man, this is the one. This is the pisser of a question. 5 guests, living or dead. Okay, my mother I would invite. She's alive.
Nice.
I would have her to dinner. Probably Kurt Cobain, just to, have some interesting conversation.
Sure, yeah.
Let's see. Rasputin, maybe, to, get some answers.
Yep.
Aleister Crowley. Where am I at? I'm at 4?
You're at 4. That's very interesting, yep.
Okay, and let's go ahead and throw Donald Trump in there. Just bring that fucking idiot to the table and let's have a conversation.
I might invite myself to that one.
Kurt Cobain. I want to hear what Kurt Cobain has to say to Donald Trump. Those are my guests I would invite to dinner. And my mom. My mom would have a lot to say to him as well, I'm sure. So
yeah,
I would probably just be a fly on the wall. It'd be a good one.
Mate, I'd like to attend that one as well as a fly on the wall. I might add as well, but yeah.
Well, you can add yourself 6 guests.
I'll serve. I'll be the waiter. There you go.
You got it.
Well, that brings us to the end of our chat. I really appreciate you taking the time out, especially so soon.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. It was a nice conversation.
Likewise, mate. All right, catch you soon. Catch you down here.
Yeah, make it happen. Let's get over there.
For sure, mate. All right, all the best.
You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that interview subject was Schuylar Croom from the outfit He Is Legend. Thank you so much for listening.